Hey Infantinis, welcome back. It's just me today, so I should have changed the banner up the top saying live with Nat and Mandy. Nat's not feeling overly great today, so she's taking the day off. So just me today, and the topic we're going to talk about today is positive thinking getting you the results you want? And when I say positive thinking, I'm going to bunch a whole bunch of things into that category as well, but let's just go with that one for now. So I can say from my own journey, and I'm sure Nat can attest to this as well, you embark on a spiritual journey, or maybe something happens in your life that kind of starts to make you question whether there's more available. Can you expand your awareness of who you truly are? Can you push the boundaries of what's possible for you? Are you really doing what you're capable of doing in this lifetime? And so you go on this journey of personal growth. You want to experience life in a different way. You want to relate to life differently. You want to sort of stop the triggers, if you like, the reactions that you're having, stopping that emotional swings that you might be experiencing. Maybe you just kind of want to feel like you want to get your life on track. You feel like you're looking at all these other people outside of you that have got all this, amazing things happening in their life. They've got the career that they love. They've got the family that they've always wanted, or the relationship of their dreams. They've got the money to do what they want. Whatever that thing is outside of you that you look at and you think, wow, if I just improve myself, then I could have those things too. Or maybe it just comes purely more from a inner drive to understand yourself better, to know that there is something more possible, and you want to find your center, if you like. You're trying to look for that connection to yourself. So whatever it is that sparks your journey, it's kind of irrelevant. Like, we all end up then on the same path of this looking for something. And that's where I think positive thinking movement has definitely come into the picture. And I'm just picking that as an example because there's many other spiritual teachings and philosophies and modalities that we tap into, thinking that we're going to get a result from them. And that's why I've sort of titled it today, kind of saying, is positive thinking getting you the results you want? Because, to be honest, as humans, we rarely do something without it having some kind of benefit to us. Even when we do things from the bottom of our heart, oftentimes there is this little sort of ego agenda on the side that's like, oh, but you feel good from that, and maybe it boosts your self-esteem in yourself, or that type of thing as well. So, but we most often, more often than not, our drive as a human is to better ourselves, to find that edge, if you like, to see what we're actually truly capable of. And that's usually why we start on this spiritual journey. Positive thinking is definitely something that's touted as a way to get that result, if you like. So if you just think positive all the time, then you'll be in a better frame of mind. You'll show up differently. Your energy will be better. People will be picking up on that energy, and opportunities will come to you more when we are thinking positive about things. And it definitely, not denying that we feel better when we think positive about life, when we take that glass full, glass half full, not half empty sort of approach to life. But there is a downside to that too, because you get to this point, well, I definitely got to this point many times on the journey, where you're doing all the things that you are told are the right things to do to get you to this place of freedom that you're really ultimately seeking. So whether that looks like positive thinking, or it looks like keeping your energy aligned, so you're really focusing on your intentions every day and making sure that you're in alignment with them, that your actions are in alignment, that you only post inspiring things on your Facebook feed. And you look at these sort of spiritual memes and quotes, and they definitely resonate, like, not denying that at all. Like, there is this absolute resonance of knowing this is the truth of what's possible, what is our ultimate sort of truth, if you like. And so we post those in the vein of sort of probably inspiring others as well, as like keeping ourselves on track. Like, we look at those things and we read them, and it keeps us helps us keep the faith, if you like, that we are on the right track, and that we're on the path to getting to this thing that we wherever that destination is that we think we're going to arrive to. But there comes moments when when we get really quiet with ourselves, where we notice that we are actually kind of doubting, if you like, that we're actually making any indent into the universe at all. Like, are we actually getting the result that we thought we were going to get? Like, do we feel more free? Do we feel like we have more awareness of who we are? Probably yes. But sometimes you can look like I definitely found this for myself, that I actually felt more trapped at times. I actually felt like I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing everything that they tell us to do, like all the gurus tell us to do. All the courses are out there on spiritual sort of awakening and enlightenment, and all the, whatever phrase you want to kind of use for that. This seeking consciousness, seeking the truth of who you truly are. You feel like you're doing all the things that are told work, whether that's law of attraction, whether that is positive thinking, whether that is some other modality that you have studied and you are applying diligently. And you do get some results. So it's not to say that you don't get any kind of expansion of who you truly are, any awareness, any more freedom around maybe your emotional reactions, and you definitely feel like stuff is shifting, and that keeps you going on the journey too. But then there's this little quiet voice that creeps in when we're really honest with ourselves, that can often kind of go, what the fuck, like, am I really getting what I thought? How long is this thing going to take? Like, seriously, like, I've been doing this for years now, and I thought I would be there by now. I thought I would have more money. I thought I would have the better relationship. Maybe some aspects of my life have definitely improved, but I don't have everything. Like, I thought it was all just going to be kind of, sorted out by now, and I'd just be in the flow of my life the whole time. And unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. The positive thinking is a huge myth. It's virtually impossible to attain 24/7, if you've ever noticed that. And the reason why is it's actually just a law of physics, that there is a positive and negative to both sides of every single thing that exists in the universe. So you can never be positive 100% of the time. And so you'll notice then that you might be positive. Okay, so say you're awake for 16 hours a day. You might be positive for 16 hours of that. So out in the public, you're at your job, you're in your relationship, you're having conversations with friends, and you're always the optimistic one, you're the uplifting one, you're the one that's providing the inspiration. And then you go home and you beat the crap out of yourself. You kind of go, you get a bill that comes in that you weren't expecting, and it kind of really throws you sideways, and you're kind of like, oh crap, like, why can't I just get my shit together? Or you have a conversation that doesn't kind of go the way that you thought it was going to go, or someone says something that really triggers you, and you have this momentary internal rage maybe that comes up, or just an absolute frustration with life that you just can't get it to work. And that may last for like a minute. Like, it doesn't have to be this like tirade of hour long kind of beating yourself up. But if you just notice, there is the intensity of that emotional reaction is probably in line with the positive hours that you've just spent out in the world kind of saying, I'm positive thinking and I'm following my intentions and I'm aligning my energy. That process, if you like, is balancing you back to a place of neutrality, because neutrality is the only space where our true power is. That's the present moment. Neutrality only exists in the present moment. It's where our true power lies, as I said, like, it's where love exists. It can only be in that unconditional space of neutrality. So the more that we try to be positive all the time, the more we're swinging the pendulum the other way, and it has to come back to balance it out. There is no way around that. Like, and so what Nat and I advocate here at the Infinite Me, with our infinite living philosophy, is that you have to honor all emotions. All emotions serve. There is nothing, at the end of the day, there is no positive and negative anyway. That is literally our own judgment on what is positive and what is negative. When you sort of talk to different people in different circles of life, some people consider something that happens a positive event, and other people will look at that and consider that a negative event. So that's usually just enough to kind of show you that there is no general, universal consensus of what is good or bad. So to try and think that we actually know the answer to what's good or bad for us or for anybody else is definitely an illusion. And it's a very persistent illusion that gets bandied about in the spiritual community big time. But also just, I think we take that on. We don't actually question it, like, and that's with a lot of things in life. We just don't dig beneath the surface and actually hold it up to the light of truth to see if it actually stands up. And when you look at positive thinking, you have to be completely honest with yourself that it is absolutely impossible to maintain 24/7. So and that being said, then what's the alternative? Like, what is the answer to that? And it is to honor all emotions. For you to give space to your emotions as they come up in the moment, without judgment, without labels on them, without the stories that we attach to them, to actually sit and just experience that emotion for what it is. So maybe you have frustration come up. And so in the beginning, you may label it, like you have to give it a name, like, oh wow, I'm identifying frustration. But then as you sit with that feeling and actually just feeling the energy in your body of that emotion, and you start to let go of any of the stories that you've got attached to why you might be feeling that frustration, or the things that have contributed to you getting to this point, you start to actually just feel that energy in your body. And then you actually do notice then that once the words start to drop away, that it literally is a sensation in your body, and that's it. And you can kind of then have a bit more of an awareness, creating that space around it of seeing just how much energy, if you like, we put into building the stories around the emotions, and then that just takes on a life of its own. So it's in the same way that positive thinking can kind of expand on itself. So once you get on that sort of role of kind of thinking positively about something and getting into an inspirational mode, that picks up momentum. The same thing happens with negative thinking. So when we get into those moments of kind of really like questioning what the hell is going on, or beating ourselves up, getting super frustrated with ourselves or another person, that gets a momentum of itself too, if you've ever noticed. Like, and we might pull ourselves up and kind of go, oh, stop thinking that. Positive thinking tells me that I'm going to create that in my life. I'm going to manifest it in my life if I think that. And we literally stop ourselves feeling that negative emotion. That's the danger. That's exactly the point where we fall off the wagon, if you like. So that's the thing that's in the way of us getting the result of getting this ultimate freedom, because there is absolutely no way of getting to ultimate freedom when you ignore half of yourself. So if we have all these emotions to experience as a human, which is why they're here, but we label half of them as bad, and we don't ever let ourselves experiencing those, then they're always in the way of us reaching that ultimate freedom. That would mean then, if you looked at it logically, that whenever we experience frustration, that we're not in alignment with the universe, and therefore we're not getting what we want. Okay, if that's the case, then so how come that thing doesn't manifest, into your life straight away then? Like, can you honestly say 100% of the time that every time you think positively, you get that result that you were focusing on? Maybe 95% of the time you do get what you want. You have aligned your energy and your actions with the truth of who you are. But then there's these moments that you have to kind of admit to yourself that doesn't work. It doesn't work 100% of the time. And there is these moments of negativity that creep in. And if we don't give them the light of day, they're going to keep coming out of the closet when we least expect them. We're going to hit a wall at some point in time. Something will happen that will push us over the edge, and it will be an absolute, it will blow up in your face, if you like. So do we want to kind of avoid half of our life in the hope that we won't ever have to sort of deal with these emotions? Or would you rather just deal with things as they come up in the moment without judgment, so that they can actually just pass through you, and you can actually get closer to this idea of ultimate freedom, so that nothing around you triggers you, that no one around you can say anything that makes you feel less than yourself. Like, the absolute truth of who you are. That you are all of consciousness, that you're here as an aspect of the infinite consciousness here in a human body to have an experience, and that what people say outside of you is merely just a reflection of what's going on for them. That maybe you can take something away from that. Maybe it provides you an insight. If it does trigger an emotion for you, that's really valuable. Like, don't push that away. That's actually the gold. That's where the gold sits, to find the gateway to freedom. So when you can sit with those emotions rather than pushing them away and judging them, you will get closer and closer to this feeling of the truth of who you are in every single moment. Nat and I talk a lot about this at the Infinite Me, and we're launching a coaching program called the Infinite Living Guidance Program, and it's going to be all about how to live these philosophies. So in regards to that, tomorrow we are going to be doing, in about 24 hours time, we're going to be doing a Ask Us Anything guidance session. And the idea of this is going to be what we will be doing in our 12-month guidance program. So we will be having live sessions about 3 to 4 times a week, which will be in a private Facebook group. We'll be meeting up live on screen, so we can talk to people in the moment. We can do hot seat coaching, so we can deep dive into something that's really coming up for you right now, about maybe applying some of the philosophies that we talk about, or you're really stuck in a relationship and you just can't figure out how to get out of, the thinking around it. Perhaps you want to leave a relationship. Maybe you've just broken up from a relationship and you're still really tied up emotionally. Maybe you can't make a decision with the best path to move forward in life right now. You've got some options, but you just really can't decide, and you've got yourself into such a confused state. Maybe it's around money. You've got such fear and doubt around money, and it's really driving a lot of your actions right now, and you really don't like the person that you're becoming. Whatever that question is, we'd love you to bring it to the session tomorrow. So it's going to be on Saturday the 29th of February at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And that translates into Sunday, the 1st of March for Australia and New Zealand. And that'll be at 12 p.m. noon Australian Eastern time and 2 p.m. New Zealand time. So do come and join us, make use of us. We're going to be here to answer your questions as best we can, and basically to show you that you already have the wisdom within you. You don't need this outside guidance from somebody else, but sometimes you just need somebody to point you in the right direction and shine a light on something that you can't quite see. And that's what we're here to do. So to join our session tomorrow, come across to our Facebook group if you're not already a part of our group. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't joined our Facebook group, do come across and join us, facebook.com/groups/infinite play. We'd love to see you come and join us there, and that's the only way that you're going to be able to access this live session tomorrow. We will be having another session on Monday, Eastern time again at 2 p.m. I'll post more details about that in tomorrow's talk, but just telling you about the session that's going to be on in 24 hours time. Come across to facebook.com/groups infinite play and ask us your questions, and we'd love to see you there. Okay, guys, thank you for joining us. Remember, I am infinite. That's who you truly are. Everything we talk about here is all about how you already have everything that you want. Maybe you just can't see it right now. So how do we get to that space? That's what we're talking about here. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully Nat will be back tomorrow, and we shall see you again soon. Bye.